How's it going? This is Hoiman, and today we're taking a look at the S.H.Figuarts Cure Étoile figure. So this continues the line of the dark age of the Precure figures, and I went into more detail about this in my Cure Étoile video. So if you're interested in that, please check out that video since I don't really want to repeat it for this video. But moving on, this is a web exclusive figure, and you don't get a window display to see the figure, but the overall packaging of the figure does feel really nice. It has a really nice, soft, smooth texturing feel, similar to mobile phone boxes. And then the image of the figure here is actually kind of embossed, so it feels very nice and premium. So you have pictures on the top, on the side, and then legal stuff for the bottom. And then the back you have more pictures of the figure. And then to open the box, just lift open the side flap. And then lift open the front cover. And there's the figure all together with her accessories. So first you do get some instructions showing what the figure comes with and how to operate the accessories. So here's the actual figure, and I think overall this is a really nice looking figure. It's really nicely sculpted, nicely detailed, and it's just overall a really accurate representation of the character. So looking at the face, I feel that they've captured the likeness of the character really well. Looks just like her, and I especially like how they accurately sculpted the hair so that it kind of wraps around her eye. So that's a really nice touch and looks really nice in figure form. But then the hair is nicely sculpted as well. It's a nice matte yellow finish, but you can see all the strands in the hair. And then you move on to the ponytail, which is really nicely sculpted with all the strands and layers. And then the thinner parts are softer material, so you don't have to worry too much about those breaking. And then there is like a slight darker wash to really bring out the depth as well. So overall the hair does look really nice. And then you have her hat on top as well, which does look nice, but the white paint is a bit rough looking in some areas, but for the most part it still works. And then you have the stars as well, which are a nice glossy finish. They do stand out from the hair. And then down to the outfit, you have a nice orange matte finish for the dress and the kind of skirt. And then there's even like a darker shade of orange at the underside, so adds some nice detail. And then a nice creases and folds makes it look really nice as well. You have her pouch here, which is nicely painted with a metallic and glossy finish. You have her blue tie, which is a solid piece. It's somewhat flexible, but you still have to be careful you don't break them. And then you have her nice cape, which is a softer material, but it still looks really nice with all the folds and stuff. And then you have the skirt on the back as well, which again is a soft material. And then you can see all the different layers, and again it's just really nicely sculpted. And then down to her legs, again nicely sculpted. The shoes have a nice metallic and glossy finish. And the paint job is mostly nice, but it does kind of look a bit, not rough, but a little bit blunt. The paint isn't quite as sharp. I know the edges just look a bit soft, if that makes sense. I think my main gripe with the paint job is, and it's very minimal, is that her arms and her face and her legs are molded in this kind of natural skin colored plastic. But for the chest, it's actually painted on with the skin color. So it's very, very minor, but the two tones of the skin color does differ very slightly. But again, it's nothing major and it isn't really that noticeable. But I just thought I'd point it out. So for articulation, the neck is on a single ball joint, so she can look down about that much. And although the hair is a solid piece, it's not very heavy, so it doesn't weigh down the head or anything. She can look up about that much. She can tilt her head side to side as well as twist. And then the hair is on a ball joint, so you can move it back and forth, side to side, and then you can twist it as well. For the shoulder, it's on a ball joint, so you can move the arm about however you want, and because this is soft material, it doesn't really get in the way too much. It's also on a hinge, so you can bring the arm out to the side, and then she even has the pull-out method, so you can pull her arm out slightly and that allows for a bit more range, but it does become a bit loose as well. And then you can just tuck that in easily as well. And then you can also bring your arm forward and then back. And this is probably the most restricting, is that you can't really point her arm all the way up. I mean, you can, but it looks quite odd with the clothing just fully pulled up like that. So there's no real any way to really point the arm up to make it look natural with the clothing. But she does have the bicep swivel and then single jointed elbow. And she does have the ball jointed wrists, but again, Bandai continues to use really thin wrist joints, so just be careful you don't break those. The torso, it's on a ball joint, so she can lean forward about that much, lean back that much, lean side to side as well as twist. And then for the hips, initially I was actually concerned how they were going to do the hips because of her design. I was concerned that they might make it really narrow and limit a lot of her leg articulation, but they actually engineer it so that the whole piece actually moves along with the leg. So first of all, the waist is on a hinge, so you can swivel it around however you like. And then the actual leg inside is on a hinge as well, so you can bring your leg out to the side and you can see how the clothing follows along with the leg. But when you pull the leg out, it does create this really odd looking gap here, so it does really break the sculpt, but it's nothing too major. And you can also kick the leg up and you can see how the clothing, the whole segment just follows with the leg. So overall it's a very nice design, but at the same time it does look a bit odd in some areas, especially because the underside is a darker orange, so when you bring your leg forward it really contrasts with the rest of the skirt. So it does look a bit odd in terms of the paint work, but it can't really be helped, I suppose. And overall, when you do bring her leg out all the way to the front, it does make the proportions look a bit off, but at the same time, I'm still impressed that they've managed to make this whole piece into a joint. So for me personally, I'm okay with it since it allows for more range of motion, but in terms of proportions, yes, it can look a bit off, but I suppose it's just up to our own personal preference, really. But you can also bring the leg to the back, and then she has the thigh swivel as well, and then she's got the single jointed knees. And then for the ankle, it's on a ball joint, so you can go back that much, forward that much, can tilt side to side and also twist. So for the most part, she has all the articulation you'd expect a Figuarts figure to have, and slightly more because of the pull-out method in the shoulders, and the nice design in the hips as well makes her a bit more dynamic in the poses she can do. So for the most part, you should be able to get all the poses that you'd want. Well, that's the figure. Let's take a look at the accessories. For faces, she comes with a default smiling face, an open mouth smiling face with her looking slightly to the right, an angry shouting face, and then an angry shouting face looking to her right. For hands, she comes with a pair of fists, and then a rack of various hands, so one posing hand, two open palmed hands, two more open palmed hands, and two hands to hold her weapon. And then she also comes with a main weapon, nicely sculpted and detailed, nice use of the translucent yellow for the tip. And then she also comes with Harry, which is nicely sculpted and detailed, and it's just one solid piece. And then she also comes with a display base. So my final thoughts are, overall this is a nice looking figure, and because this is pretty much the time where Bandai decided to make the Precure figures a little bit cheaper by using cheaper parts and stuff. Some parts do feel like obviously cheaper, like the material that they use for the cape and the skirt. I wouldn't say they feel absolutely cheap, but they definitely feel more cheaper than your usual Precure figures in the past. But overall they still do feel pretty high quality, so it's nothing too major. And the sculpt and the paintwork of the character is still pretty much what you'd expect from Figuarts, so it's still very nice and clean for the most part. But because this is pretty much the darkest age in the Precure figures, she doesn't really come with that much accessories, and because she is a web exclusive figure, she is quite pricey, so for the price you pay and for the amount of stuff you get, it can detract from a bit. But other than that, like I said, she's still a really nice looking figure, and if you're a fan of the character or the show, then I can still recommend this figure. Well, that's my review. Thank you for watching and enjoy some pictures.